Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Reverend C.C. Coltrane, and I want to welcome you this morning to Center for Spiritual Living Greater Dayton. If this is your first time here, we extend a special welcome to you and say thanks for sharing your morning with us. In your bulletin, there's a little tear-off strip where you can give us your contact information, which we promise we will not abuse. We will simply use it to send you a thank you for being here and add you to our midweek pick-me-up, which you can always just check off and get rid of if you don't like what you're getting on Wednesday mornings. It's just a little word in the middle of the week to sort of pick you up. You can just fill that out and drop it at the Welcome Center. After the service, there is also a packet of information that tells you more about what goes on here over there. Let's see, this morning giving our reading and invocation is Linda Andriaco. Our vigil holder is Marge Russell. And Linda Andriaco and Lenza Smith will offer our interfaith candlelight, which we do every week just to simply remind us that there's wisdom everywhere. In all of the religious traditions and spiritual traditions of the world, truth can be found if we look for it. Our teens and tweens are with Teresa today. Our little kids, are with Teresa today. The teens and tweens are here with us in the service. We also have, if there's kids that are too little for the main youth class, Clara is back there with a couple of toddlers, so I'm sure they will be having a good time. So if our kids will head over to Teresa, we will just say a quick blessing for them, because in this moment I know that God is so beautifully expressed through these kids. Every single one of them, a clear light of the divine. So we give thanks for their presence here today. We know that they bless us with their presence as they are growing and learning and becoming all that they came here to be. Thank you, God. And so it is. Have a great day. I have a couple of quick announcements. There are a couple of Cooking with God events coming up soon. For those of you who don't know, this is a thing that we do. We call it a fundraiser, because people in the community offer an event that involves food and fun, and other people buy tickets to that event. The money comes back to the center, and the fun is had by everybody. Yesterday we had a great bike ride between the rainstorms down by the river. It was absolutely wonderful, followed by lunch at the brew pub. So it was a really nice time. I've been to this, my second one so far this Cooking with God season, and it's been wonderful. So to tell you about one that's coming up right away is Kelly and Carol. Kelly's going to talk. Carol's just going to show us her vision board. Man, you did it right, Kelly. Woo!
Well,
Here, you want me to hold them up? I'll play Vanna White.
those are nice.
So we're having a vision board and brunch event. We have a couple spots left this coming Saturday from 10:30 to 1. We're going to have a oatmeal bar and all kinds of breakfast and lunch foods. And we're going to make vision boards. So you can do the style where, like Carol did, with the magazine, finding magazine images that inspire you. Or you can do the frame style, like I just pick certain words and images that inspire me and I frame them. So we'll have all kinds of choices. So I think the normal procedure is you would talk to Clara, and it's $35. So just connect with Clara after service if you want to join us. I hope it'll be a lot of fun.
Thank you, Kelly. Clara is back with the little TV kids right now. She will be here after service. She's also here. Either she or I will be here tomorrow. She may be on jury duty. But one of us is here Monday through Friday, so you can call the office to get tickets for that as well. We also have an updated Cooking with God events calendar, which you can pick up back by the door. Check it out, see what else you might want to go to, and then call us during the week for tickets. Tomorrow evening, Monday evening at 7 p.m., please be here for our soul session with Lisa Ferraro and Etika Luckett. It's about 90 minutes, music, poetry, silence. It will fill you up. These two women Lisa Ferraro and Eddie Luckett are extraordinary people by themselves, and together they're pure magic. It is a wonderful, wonderful, soulful gift to give yourself. There is no charge. We'll take up a love offering, which we'll then give to Lisa and Eddie because they make their living doing this kind of stuff. So please join us. We're going to start up a little choir for a couple of our fall Sundays. So if you'd like to sing with us, please put your name and phone number on the clipboard over there at the Welcome Center. I will have a couple of rehearsals in August and September because we don't want to mess with anybody's summer. And then we'll have a couple of command performances after that. And then we'll just have to see what happens. We'll just have to see what happens. I just want to let you all know I'm taking off for my summer reset after the board meeting this Wednesday. So you'll be able to hear from Stephanie Stewart and also a representative from Choices Independent Living program on the 15th. That's a program that we're going to partner with to help the kids that are aging out of foster care, help them get set up in life, help them get an apartment set up and sort of become, you know, adult citizens coming from a place that hasn't maybe prepared them the best. Then on July 22nd, Esther Nicholson will be here. Some of you may remember her. She was here a couple of years ago. Speaker, singer, beautiful woman. She's going to be here to speak and do her workshop on the 22nd of July. So don't miss that. Don't miss anything in July. It's going to be wonderful. Today is birthday Sunday. So happy birthday to Benjamin Brining, as he calls himself now, the full name, right? Benjamin Brining, Callie Brust, Sherry Buckner, Dan Hefner, woohoo! Catherine Lakin, Christy Place, Lisa Schreiber, Beverly Stewart, and Joe Widener. I hope we didn't miss anybody. If we did, please let me know after the service. Happy birthday to all of our June angels, and we'll have cake in the, or pie. I did see a pie for sure, in the social hall after the service to celebrate. And after the service, our practitioners are here to pray with you, always. You can just ask one of the people in the white or teal stoles for prayer, and they will find a quiet corner with you and pray with you. It's their gift to you with deep love on Sunday mornings. I think that's it for announcements. Now it is time to hear once again from Kyle singing a wonderful song called Heart of Gold.
We light the first candle in honor of Christianity. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments hang all the law and prophets. We light the second candle in honor of Gnosticism. That which is below corresponds to that which is above, and that which is above corresponds to that which is below, to accomplish the miracle of the one thing. We light the third candle in honor of Taoism. When you succeed in connecting your energy with the divine realm through high awareness and the practice of undiscriminating virtue, the transmission of the ultimate subtle truths will follow. We light the fourth candle in honor of Buddhism. Good causes bring good effects. Bad causes bring bad effects. Your own cause brings your own effect. We light the fifth candle in honor of Hinduism. Now, as a person is like this or that, according as they act and according as they behave, so will they be. A person of good acts will become good. A person of bad acts, bad. We become pure by pure deeds, bad by bad deeds. And whatever deeds one does, that he will reap. We light the sixth candle in honor of Sufism. My place is placeless, my trace is traceless, neither body nor soul. I belong to the beloved, have seen the two worlds as one, and it is that one I call to, and know first, last, inner, outer. Only that breath, breathing the human being. We light the final candle in honor of mystical Judaism. The secret to happiness of the average human being is not so much dependent on validation from an ever-changing society, but rather on one's own ability to create, Yeshmayam, existence from nothing, light from darkness, and sweet from bitter. This kind of creation is boundless and encompasses all areas of humanity. Today's reading is by Ernest Holmes. If you would bring happiness to those around you, you must first become happy yourself. But before you can become happy, something happens to happen to you that causes you to know that God is right where you are, that good is the final power in the universe, and that love is all-conquering force. Let's take these words into the silence for a couple moments. God is right here, right now, in and through each and every one of us, in the beautiful sunshine in this morning and the clear, crisp air that we all were able to breathe. God is present in, through, and every one of them. I am thankful for this, and I am thankful for everyone here. And I know that Reverend Cece's message resonates with each and every one of us just as we need it to be. And I say thank you, God, and so it is.
Kyle, we've missed you. Nice to have you. Isn't he great? He's so good. He's so good. So I read this story last week I want to tell you about. It was about a young man named Brendan. And Brendan needed a kidney transplant. And he thought his buddy, Pat or Philip, would give him a kidney. But it turns out that Philip's kidney wasn't a match. So this young woman, who was a total stranger, her name was Kimberly, she donated her kidney to Brendan. And Philip decided to donate his kidney anyway, even though his friend Brendan couldn't use it. And his kidney turned out to be a perfect match for Clotilda. Clotilda had hoped to get a kidney from her daughter Daisy, but Daisy's kidney wasn't a match. But it turns out Daisy's kidney was a match for Scott. So Daisy also donated. So we had Kimberly's unselfish act turning into a chain reaction that wound up with 3 people getting new kidneys on a single day in a single hospital. She inspired Philip and Daisy to go ahead anyway, even though the person they loved, that they planned to give their kidney to, couldn't use it. So they gave it to a perfect stranger. That's what goodness does. That's what spiritual awareness does. It sets up these chain reactions which can reach out and touch all sorts of lives that we don't even intend in the first place. And there's a video that I'm sure many of you have seen. It's actually called A Good Deed Chain Reaction. It starts out with a kid splatting off of his skateboard, and a construction worker helps him up. And the kid says thank you and goes on his way. And then the kid sees an older woman who's having trouble getting across the street with her groceries. So he stops to help the woman across the street with her groceries. And then the woman who's proceeding on her way sees another woman who doesn't have change for the parking meter. So she rifles in her pocket and gives the lady the change for the parking meter, and so on and so on and so on, until clear up at the end we see a waitress giving a glass of cold water to a construction worker. The same construction worker that helped the kid out in the beginning. There are lots of those kinds of videos on YouTube. My favorite is called The Video That Will Change Your Life. It's another one like that. But the point of all of them is the same, that when we do good things, it spreads. It kind of radiates out. It starts a spiritual chain reaction. And our founder, Ernest Holmes, wrote about that in his book, Living the Science of Mind. He said, there is no reason to doubt that in the field of spiritual consciousness, a chain reaction could be created which would bless the whole world. And he encourages us to try that, to try an experiment, one that would, it's in his words, bless instead of curse humanity, by starting a chain reaction of good. And I say, what a fabulous idea. Isn't that what we all want to do? We want to bless all the world rather than just hold space or make the world worse. Obviously, we don't want to do that, but we get so absorbed in our own lives that we don't think about it. We don't consciously choose to take the action that will start that chain reaction. Or we can get so dragged down by what seems to be happening in the world that we're too depressed to try the experiment. But here's the thing, that kind of experiment that will bless all of humanity and all of the world starts with each one of us. Because each one of us contributes to this thing that's called the collective consciousness. And the collective consciousness is what creates the world, right? There's nothing going on out there that we all somehow didn't either agree to or let happen and ignore. And that's true if it's wonderful, and that's true if it's not so wonderful. So Ernest Holmes wrote this. He said, we, and I'm not sure who that regal we was, because it was just Ernest. But anyway, he said, we are sure you have had the experience of finding yourself frustrated and confused and beginning to wonder what it's all about. Then you have had the privilege of sitting down quietly with someone whose atmosphere is permeated with peace and confidence. And gradually you have felt the rough edges of your own agitation disappear, until finally your own atmosphere changes and you are filled with hope and confidence. This is an example of how a spiritual reaction can work. It reaches out to all around and sets in motion a chain reaction to which there is no limit. So when you and I do what is necessary to become that person of calm and confidence, we become the instigators of spiritual chain reactions. We don't know where they'll end. We don't know who they'll touch. We just know they're happening. When we consciously choose to become that person of faith and harmony, we change the atmosphere around us, wherever we go, and whoever we're with, and whatever we're doing. And so the question becomes, how do we become that person? I think that is what all of our spiritual practices and spiritual tools are really designed to do. We first become mindfully conscious through meditation, conscious of what's going on in our own minds, right? And then we choose to change the thoughts that we have that are unlike the blessing we want. We do that through affirmation and prayer and sacred reading. And then we be the blessing through service and generosity. And when I'm in that state of deep, non-anxious presence, with a capital P, I mean really, that I'm really there, I can feel the beginnings of that chain reaction, and I know you can too. You know, when you're feeling just so calm, and you kind of walk into the grocery store and you smile at people and they light up just because you're there and you're paying attention to them. Or you go to do something with somebody and they wonder what's different about you because you're so centered. When I'm in that place, it's where I want to be all the time. When I'm topped up, when I'm prayed up, when my spiritual practice has been done, then it's really not very difficult at all to stay in that sort of calm, peaceful place, even when things are difficult, even when I'm with someone difficult or facing a situation that's difficult. And then there are those other times when, you know, maybe I'm a little ragged. And I told you I'm getting ready for my summer reset because the truth is right now I'm tired. And it's hard to feel topped up when you're tired. And so the news makes me crazy sometimes, especially lately with what's happening at the borders. Like Rachel Maddow, I've broken down in tears more than once this week. I've been incredibly frustrated and upset. So this Wednesday I was sitting in meditation and I realized, that what's going on out there is a reflection of the collective consciousness of all of us. And so maybe what needs to happen is that you and I need to make our consciousness more obvious, that you and I need to make our voices heard. And that voice, our voice of calm conviction and assurance in what's right. We need to start a chain reaction that's big enough to really make some waves in our world. Because regardless of how you feel about that topic of immigration, what's been going on is just simply wrong, right? Don't lock kids up without their parents. It's messing those kids up. It's going to scar them for life. It's immoral. It's unethical. It's cruel. So the policy was changed, and now parents and kids and families can be held indefinitely in detention centers. There's something wrong with that as well. Indefinitely? There's something wrong with that as well. That's no solution. So I think we have to start making our voices heard. We have to keep sending the love that starts a chain reaction of love. So I was grappling with all of this, thinking, God, how do you do that? What's going on? And I heard Ernest Holmes' voice reminding me to stand for something and against nothing. So I spent a lot of time this week in meditation and prayer and working with my prayer partner to figure out what it is I stand for. What do I stand for? And here's where I am. I stand for love. I stand for taking care of children. I don't care whose children. Children, period, who are in need. I'm for making whatever changes necessary to make sure that when kids come into our country, they're treated appropriately. No matter whose kids they are. They're children, for God's sake. I'm for a comprehensive policy. I'm for finding the ways forward that are good for as many people as possible. Isn't that what Holmes tells us to do? To look for the solution that brings the most good to the most number of people and doesn't directly harm anybody, no matter where they were born, no matter whose kids they are. I'm for using our resources to provide solid lives for everybody, and for caring for each other in ways we have not cared for each other before, no matter what. No matter what. That's the chain reaction I want to start. That's the chain reaction that I want to be part of. I'm for every one of us focusing on healthy answers and appropriate responses and ways into the future that take care of people and creatures and the planet. I'm for remembering that Spirit is present in it all and treating it that way. All of it. That's what I stand for. That's where I wish to stand. So my invitation to you is to ask yourself where you stand. What happens when you look around the world? There are lots of possibilities as a response. One is to become depressed and hopeless, but that does nobody any good, least of all you. Been there, done that. Another one is to become upset and angry. Again, does no good for anyone, especially you. Been there, done that one too. One is to either refuse to look at what's going on, or to try to escape or evade or affirm away your own feelings. That's called spiritual bypass. And it's a very easy trap to fall into. But here's the problem. We can't. We have these great centers of love, the human heart, that is always going to react with empathy and compassion. That's going to be the innermost reaction we have, is empathy and compassion whenever someone's suffering. That's who we are. So we can't escape the empathy and the compassion and the angst that sometimes it causes us. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, said, never disregard the facts and circumstances of the situation. Because we can't. He knew that. We have to be able to put away, we might be able to put away our own feelings for a while, but we'll react from that place of compassion and empathy. We may cover it over with bravado or anger or righteousness, self-righteousness or whatever, but that is our natural response. The path of transformation in my book requires us to hold the facts and circumstances and the spiritual truth, both at once. And that is not an easy path to do, but it is the path that lets us be all that we are. We are spiritual beings having a human experience with a human heart. And the heart breaks from time to time. It does. When we can do that, though, this both and, then we respond to the situation from the empathy, from the compassion, from the love. We get calm and present. We speak what's true. And we take actions that line up with what it is we want to see happen in the world. Ernest Holmes talked about this too. He said, the fact that we can cultivate within ourselves this atmosphere of spiritual truth it ought to be what we take out into the social arena to fulfill our duties and obligations to our fellow creatures. He said, go out with joy and free from morbidity. He said, pray and then follow up with your words and follow up with your actions. Once we've claimed that, once we've decided where we stand, then our task becomes to make sure that that's where we come from. That we come from that calm and that peace and that confidence before we say or do anything. Then we speak, then we act. He wrote about this in Living the Science of Mind. Holmes was writing about Jesus, and he said Jesus took the idea of faith and prayer out of the realm of speculation and theory and put them into the realm of fact and experience. He made his spiritual conviction come alive and move through him into action. And Holmes said that too we must do. We can prove, he said, we can prove that love is the greatest healing power in the world. And we do that when we stand for love, speak for love, act for love. And when we do something begins to happen. When we do, we start a chain reaction. See, every single one of us is rooted in this thing we call spirit. And because of that, what we do, it's like that great web that was described in Hindu legend that spreads throughout the whole universe. And at every cross is a jewel, and that jewel is you, and that jewel is you, and that jewel is you, and that jewel is me. So when we tug on any one of the jewels, it ripples out into the whole. The whole. That's the chain reaction we want to start. We want to give a little love tug so that the love ripples out and causes somebody else to do the same. And we just keep magnifying it and magnifying it and magnifying it. We start right where we are, and we influence the people around us. And the ripples just keep flowing. When we let our words be powerful words of love, they start a powerful chain reaction. When our acts are acts of love, they start a powerful chain reaction. When our thoughts and our words and our actions are all in support of love, we're in touch with what Holmes called a presence and power that knows no defeat. So for me, I not only have to center myself in love and faith and presence every day, I'm continually working on that. I also have to be aware of the thoughts that come up that are not like that. And I have to pull them back when they stray from the territory of love into anger and judgment. I have to be aware when my words, whether I'm speaking them or writing them in a letter to my congressman, when they're coming from a place that's other than love. When I take action, I want that action to come from the love that is at my core. If I let all three, words, actions, and deeds, be in sync, then I trust and know the chain reaction I'm starting is backed by that power of love that Holmes said is the greatest healing power in the world. So what chain reaction do you want to start today? What do you stand for in this moment? It's an important question. I think it's one we ought to ask ourselves frequently, like every day. Sometimes every minute. Some days are like that. To remind ourselves both to take the spiritual actions that we need to. Meditate, affirm, pray, read, study, be generous, do acts of service, and to speak and act from that place. That place on which we stand, where we stand for. So anyway, if you too stand in this place that I'm standing today, there's a little sheet over there that'll give you all the contact information for your senators and your congressmen. I urge you to write to them loving letters, more than once, with a positive message that says, here's what I stand for. Here's what I want you to represent for me. There's also a list of organizations that are working on the border in case you wish to donate. There's also a march, a rally on June 30th in Courthouse Square. My sign is going to say what I'm for, not what I'm against. To make your voice heard. It's time for us all to stand up and stand out and speak out to make our stand for love be heard. Daniel, are you there?
Yes.
There you are. Go get the band. It's almost time. No. So I want to close with something that Ernest Holmes wrote in 1942 during the middle of World War II. I put it in your bulletin. It's a little sheet that says something about a thought experiment on the top. There's a prayer in the middle of it, and it's bolded. He was urging on all of his followers a thought experiment. He said, begin by saying a prayer every day. And I've printed it out so that you can, if you want to pull it out and read it along with me, that's great. What I urge you to do is to try Dr. Holmes' experiment with me. You know, we start from that place of calm and confidence. And we start a chain reaction that is powerful and beneficial. And so let's pray his prayer together and think and speak to and act from there. Then we begin to start a chain reaction that rocks the world, because it's a chain reaction of love, the most powerful healing force in the world. So join me. Let's pray together. I am filled with the inexhaustible energy of life. I am filled with limitless enthusiasm for living. There is a deep calm at the center of my being, which is undisturbed, which is forever at peace with the universe around me. I know that the power of good will prevail, and that there is being worked out now in the minds of men and women everywhere a divine pattern of freedom, protection, and cooperation for all people. I know that no thoughts of doubt or depression can enter my consciousness. There is nothing in me that receives them. I live in the buoyancy of spirit. There are no doubts in my consciousness. I have an ever-deepening appreciation for all people, an ever-deepening sense of gratitude for the knowledge that the spirit cannot be assailed. I know that good is finally going to come to everyone, and that all problems will be solved. Neither fear nor self-pity can operate through me. I am alive with life, with joy, and continuously upheld by a deep, unshakable conviction that there is a presence and a power and an intelligence in the universe, which is working out a perfect pattern for human conduct and relationships. I rest in peace, in joy, and in love. I know that this is not only true of myself, it is true of every person who lives. And so it is.
I am just a thread, a simple thread in this glorious web. web of life. We are all just drops within a stream flowing towards an ocean of light. We may forget where we come from. We may forget where we're going to. I might not see that you're a reflection of me as much as I'm a reflection of you. I'm just a seed, a blessed seed with eternity unfolding in me. And I pray that as I grow, I will reveal the love that illuminates my soul. When I remember where I come from, when I remember where I'm going to, then I can see that you're a reflection of me as much as I'm a reflection of you. This is my simple prayer. May I become a reflection of the infinite one. This is my simple prayer. May I become a reflection of the infinite one. This is my simple prayer. May I become a reflection of the infinite one. This is my simple prayer. May I become a reflection of the infinite one.
Can just come forward, please. Amen. Let us become that reflection. Now we have an opportunity to support our mission here, which is providing those powerful tools for us all to change our lives by changing the way we think and uncovering our spiritual magnificence so that together we do change the world. We send out these powerful spiritual chain reactions that begin to change the people around us. So that's what we're supporting when we give to the center. So we ask you to give what you can. Just take your gift in your hands, or if you give electronically, in your heart and mind. And just know with me this center's continuing thriving, abundance, joy, prosperity, and effectiveness. And let's say together, I know the activity of abundance in my life.
I know the activity of abundance in my life.
And in this center.
And in this center.
I give and receive generously.
I give and receive generously.
From this everlasting flow of good.
From this everlasting flow of good.
And so it is.
And so it is.